Let's talk about Liège. So, Liège, it's for the punchers to climbers, because this is kind of a crescendo to the Ardennes Classics. So, what happens in Liège? Well, things have changed, you see, because 2 years ago the organisers decided that the finish, which was uphill, decided let's change that and make it downhill. So that kind of changed the aspect of who's going to win. The idea being that more people will attack and it'll make more exciting racing. We've only had 2 editions, so a bit like a scientific experiment. We don't really have a lot of data to support the punditry that goes on around this race. So let's think. Last 2 years, what's happened? First time that this happened, Fuglsang won solo, and there were a couple of drips and drabs of riders behind him. And then last year was the one where Alaphilippe won, but chopped so many people up in the process that he then lost because he was relegated. And that was a group of, 5? Because Mohoric joined him at the end, and then there was a group behind them. And so it seems to be that basically this is won by, so far, a solo victor or a group, and then a bunch sprint between that group. So that's all we have to work on so far. So who's this going to favour? Let's think. That Alaphilippe has actually never won this race, which is weird, considering this is literally made for him. But he did, of course, win La Flèche Wallonne on Wednesday, ahead of Primoz Roglic, who debuted that race. And pretty much those two were miles ahead of everybody else. But Pogacar wasn't there because UAE had a positive COVID result, and therefore they weren't allowed to start. So Pogacar's still yet to play his hand in this whole Ardennes Classic game that's going on because he didn't start at Amstel. So those two are the favourites. Pogacar's still to come in. Somehow, I don't fucking understand how, but it pains me to say, but Valverde is good again. Like, what? How? He is, he's looking good. Of course, he's not looking as good as Alaphilippe because Alaphilippe dropped him at La Flèche, but he's still looking decent to the point where he'll probably make the front group, and you know what, he's fast enough where he could actually podium Liège. Definitely not out of the question. Other riders, there's another couple of names who we need to talk about. Barguil is somehow an Ardennes guy. He went from Tour de France polka dot jersey to trying to contest for GC to I'm an Ardennes rider now. Who knows? Identity crisis. That's what's going on. Who else we got? We got Michael Matthews, who this could suit, but he's got to make it over that last climb, which is called something. Just give me a minute. It's called, I'll actually have a website up here. It's called the Côte de la Roche or Rocon. And there's so many climbs in the last 100k of this race. And also, it's 260k, which means that Pidcock's probably not going to make it if he's going. I'm just saying. I'd much rather Ineos work for Kwiatkowski. He looked good at Amstel, looked very renewed, and of course he looked like he was working for Pidcock in La Flèche, so hopefully he gets to Liège. Could Kwiatkowski make the front group? Possibly. Of course, we didn't see him in his full kind of trying to follow the move on Wednesday, so we don't really know. Who else have we got? Schachmann, 10th at La Flèche was alright. Looked good at Amstel with a 3rd place, because he was able to follow the move, got into that move, that was good. And he's got the speed to win. His only issue is that he's got to make that front split. And to be honest with you, for people who are strong enough to make that front split, are probably not going to want Schachmann there. So I'm not too sure on him making that front split. Mike Woods, 4th at La Flèche. A race which does suit him, but the downhill doesn't. So going to be hard for him to win. Who else have we got? Conifroid didn't look great at La Flèche, so maybe might not do great here. Who am I missing? Godou looked good, but again, somehow he's got to either A, win a small reduced sprint, which isn't going to happen, or B, he's got to go solo, which probably isn't going to happen, so his chances of winning are pretty small. João Almeida comes in to help Alaphilippe, I guess. But if you think about it, if you've been watching the Tour of the Alps, you'll see that all the guys who are prepping for the Giro, the guys like Pello Bilbao, Simon Yates, Vlasov, Sivakov, and Quintana, all those guys are looking really good, which makes me think that surely Zhao must be at a similar point as well. No, I wouldn't put it past De Koenig to get somehow. Zhao gets on, is dropped from the first group on that final attack, but claws back, counters, Zhao wins. Call me crazy. Call me crazy. But if it happens, then you've heard it here first. Absolutely. Hershey, of course. Hershey. Well, he doesn't look great. And that might just come round and just flip on its head in Liège, and he does really well, but yeah. No, my gut instinct's not telling me Hershey. No. Bahrain victorious, I'm not really seeing many people there. Astana, let's face it, I know they've got Fulsang, right, but Arambaru is probably their best bet. Just because he's faster in a finish and he's very punchy to a point where he can survive those climbs and probably finish in the top 10 of a monument, dare I say. I know he's finishing the top 10 of Milan San Remo, but you know, top 10 of another monument, that'd be really cool. Who else we got? Van Avermaet, Higuita, Ben Tullet, could he actually survive? If I'm saying that Pidcock isn't going to survive, Ben Tullet's probably not going to survive either. And really, those are the names and the people that we're interested in. Just saying, that's it. Probably, if one of those names doesn't win, crucify me in the comments. But chances are it's going to come from those guys. Realistically, I hate doing this because it's really boring, but the person who's probably going to win this race is Alaphilippe. Somehow he hasn't won this race. I know this is pretty much deja vu of what I said at the start, but he hasn't won this race. I don't know how. It's probably about time. The fact that very few people go back-to-back winners makes me think that Roglic probably isn't going to win, despite looking really good. I do think that he'll podium. I think Alaphilippe and Roglic will be on the podium. That other final spot, tricky to say. I think that it'll be someone who's a surprise. I think we'll get a group at the top. I think that somebody will beat Roglic. It could be Pogacar. It could be Valverde. Or it could be, I want to say, yeah, got something really weird like Barguil. Like, yeah, just something bizarre. Like Warren Barguil making that front group. Or like, maybe not as weird, but Shackman making that front group. I do think that Alaphilippe will probably win. I think that Roglic will also finish on the podium. That third spot is a bit up for grabs. In terms of the other people who'll be in that group, like I said, Valverde, Pogacar, maybe. And then in the group behind, probably like Arambaru will be there. Probably like Zhao might be in that group. Woods, Dylan Teuns, Mohoric. Just the likes of those kind of guys who, you know, just lacking that little bit of edge at the top. If I had, and of course, Alaphilippe is my boring kind of, oh, that's what's going to happen kind of pick. But my outside weird pick would be Zhao in the scenario that I suggested earlier. That group makes it up the road. He's dropped from it, or he's just not. He maybe was never really in the group, but kind of just holding it. It kind of does a bit of cat and mouse. Zhao comes back, sits at the back, plays a bit of possum, that like, oh, I need to recover. Counters, Alaphilippe just sits on the wheels, and Zhao wins. I think that would be the more interesting pick. So I guess I'm going for a De Koenig victory either way. Actually, that's about it really. If you made it this far and you're thinking, oh, where's the Velo Games video? I'm going away this weekend, and therefore I won't be able to record one tomorrow on Friday. So therefore there might not be one for Liège, which is, I know it's a bit like, it's not great, especially because it's a monument. But that's my bad. But at the end of the day, I'm going away, and you know, I'm not going to like compromise that for the sake of the video. So that's all really. That's all I have to say. That's what I think is going to happen in Liège. Pretty much just the only preview you need to watch. Short, snappy, quick. Bish bash bosh. Keep your masks on. Stay safe. Talk to you next time. Salut.